Good morning and welcome to Church at Home with Rachael for Monday, the 8th of March. It's another beautiful day here in Wainwright. The sun is shining. It's a glorious, beautiful day. Spring is in the air, and we have so much to look forward to. This morning, I'd like to talk a little bit about church and state. Yesterday, I had a conversation with someone who is a good Anglican, and he's been paying attention to something I hadn't known was happening. And I'm not going to talk about the politics of it, just to mention the context of it. He had heard something about the UPC party here in Alberta talking about wanting to reintegrate Christian teaching into the church using parables and prayers and things like that. And he wondered, is the new Bishop of the Diocese of Edmonton going to speak out against that? And I hadn't heard anything about it, so we had a great conversation, and I learned a little bit, and I now need to do some looking things up. And in addition to talking about what does the bishop do and how might that work, it got me thinking about what is the role of the church when it comes to secular education, and should we be insisting that our teachings be placed into the world of education? At first, I got thinking, it wasn't a bad thing when we used to have the Lord's Prayer said every day after we sang the national anthem. But then I got thinking about the fact that when I've been talking about in the last few weeks, about evangelism, is that it's not pushy and it's not in your face, and we're not expected to go and hand out tracts or stand on street corners or tell children what they should believe. I think there is a role for us as Christians in the world and in the school system, that we be transparent, as I said a couple of weeks ago, or a few days ago anyway, that when we live our lives, that people should be able to see Jesus through us, that we point in everything that we do and say and act, how we act, that we point to Jesus. And I think that given the culture that we have, and the fact that I don't think that if we truly believe in Jesus, that we should be kind of in people's face or making this a war of religions. I think that we are called to really reach out to people in a way that's faithful and allows them to make a choice, acknowledging and respecting the choices they have already made. And I think this is my personal thinking, with only sort of 24 hours of having been thinking about this. But right now, I guess what I'm thinking is that we really shouldn't be trying to force our understanding of religion into the school system. What we need to do is we need to be able to teach our children to think critically, to be able to problem solve, to be able to discover the ways that they can use their brains to look at the world around them and experience everything and recognize truth when they see it. We live in a multicultural society in Canada, and I think that's one of the gifts of our country. And so to walk into a public school system and say, we're going to start using parables to teach, or we're going to introduce prayer again, that really is not teaching respect. It is not teaching an openness to others' ideas and opinions. I can't recall a time when Jesus said to the Greeks or to the Jews that what you are doing is wrong. He said, this is the way that we can do this. This is how we can understand God's law. This is a new way that we can understand Scripture. He didn't start saying to them, you're evil, you're going to hell if you don't do it our way. He simply created an opportunity for people to see a new way and gave them the open door through which they could walk if they chose. I don't think that introducing Christian teachings into our public school systems is the way that Jesus would have us do that. You can argue with me, and I'm willing to learn more, to hear different perspectives. But I think it would actually be more harmful to the Christian movement, to the Jesus movement, if we were to try to force Jesus down people's throats. There are many children in our school systems that are Christian, but there are many who are now Muslim or Hindu or Sikh or Jewish. We have in Alberta, we have so many people who are Aboriginal First Nations, and their teachings, their understanding of creation and their higher power, they're important to them, and we should be learning from them as well. So I have no problem with Christian education being shared in school systems if it's balanced with education about other religious groups and identities. I think that we're better able to make decisions and come to an understanding of who we believe we are and what we believe in if we have more information with which to work. A lot of times in this last 21 years of being a priest, I have heard people making the statement that, well, I'm going to let my children choose. I'm not going to force religion on them. The question is how do they learn about religion? How do they make a choice if they've never been given instruction, if they've never been given opportunity to learn? And I think that if we're going to talk about religion in schools, it needs to be across the board. I think it's important that we teach kids about geography and history, but we also teach them about who we are as Canadians and where we come from. So if there is a Muslim child in our schools, or if we have a refugee from Syria who has something that they can teach, and part of what they can teach us or share in a school project or something is their religion and how that informed the way they came to be here in Canada, and that informs the way that they live and create a new life, then I'm all for it. Go for it. The same thing for Christians, for students who would like to share their faith in telling about their own history and where they've come from. But I believe that needs to be more of a grassroots thing. I think that needs to come from the children and from a desire for them to learn about each other, rather than from one political party telling the province what they need to learn. My fear, I guess, is more that Christianity will become politicized. I don't believe that Jesus was political. A revolutionary, absolutely. He came in and he turned political structures and things on their heads. He didn't necessarily come in and say, this is what your politics needs to look like. He was more critical of the way things were working and told us that we needed to work a new way. We needed to see things from a new perspective. And taking a very colonial attitude of, we are the white Anglo-Saxon Christian powerhouse, and then laying it on top of people who may not be white Anglo-Saxon Christian. It's just asking for trouble. We've done this before. We came in with our colonial ways and our ideas that we honestly thought were right at the time. And we have learned that our way of evangelizing, our way of sharing the good news of Jesus Christ with others, didn't share much good of any kind. We still have good news in Jesus Christ to share. We still have this incredible love that God has shared with all of his children, that we acknowledge and recognize and we celebrate was given through Jesus Christ. But we don't need to shove it down people's throats. We need to be standing up and saying that we are here, and the way that we will show you that we are Christians is through being transparent in the ways that we treat you with respect. If you are of a different religion or no religion at all, it's not my job to force you or to convince you or cajole you into becoming Christian. It is my place to treat you as Christ would treat you. If during our conversations, if in the evolution of our relationship, you make that decision or you come to believe that you would like to know more about Jesus or come into a relationship with him, then I will gladly walk with you for that. I will gladly learn with you and listen to you and pray for you. But I don't believe it's my job to convince you that you must become Christian. I don't believe it's the role of the schools to impose something on children when they are so formative. They need to learn, but they need to learn how to learn. They need to learn how to think critically, to ask questions, to make decisions for themselves. If we teach our children how to make informed decisions, how to ask questions, how to know how to ask and why to ask questions, and help them to learn that way, then as they grow and evolve, they will be better able to say to themselves, my friend or my neighbor is Christian and they talk about Jesus as a part of their life in a beautiful and wonderful and loving way, is that something that I'd like to pursue? Do I want to come to know this person named Jesus in my life? And if we're doing our job well as Christians, as Anglicans as well, but as Christians, then they will feel comfortable coming to us and saying, can you teach me something about this? I'd like to learn about this Jesus that you know. I'd like to know a little bit more about it. And they won't feel that we're going to shove them into it or close them into a box or bring them into a cult or something. They'll know that we are welcome and opening and willing to share with them what brings us joy. What brings us joy? What brings us hope? What brings us peace? What comforts us when we're in sorrow? And then maybe the door will be open. But we have to trust that the Holy Spirit is walking before us and guiding us. And I don't believe, maybe I'm wrong, I could very well be wrong, but I don't believe that imposing our religion on students who have no choice but to be there, have no opportunity to say, I'm not comfortable with this. I don't think that's right. But I don't want to launch into politics. It's just something I've been thinking about. And that question, should the church speak out against it? I don't know. God bless whoever will be our next bishop, if that is one of the things that they feel called to address. Have a great day. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for Tuesday's Church at Home with Rachael. Enjoy your day. Be safe. Be warm. Maybe go out for a walk, but if you're out in public, make sure you wear your mask. We want to be able to greet each other in person again soon. So let's get this pandemic under control. God bless everybody. Have a great day.